All right, hello. Apparently, even a full screen picture doesn't stop my screen from turning off, so whoops. But enough of this. I'm here to finish up a bit of a design pattern here and then do some 3D modeling. You know, the same things I've been doing the past couple of streams. I want to keep the focus on some design work now. And it usually feels really nice to do design work, so I could use that to calm down a bit. Hey, how's it going, Mike? Hope you're doing well today. Happy Monday to you as well. How was the weekend? Mine was pretty good. Busier than I anticipated, but a good kind of busy, you know? I'm working on a little design project with a friend. We're making a hydroponics system, just a simple thing with PVC and all that, but we wanted to do a proper design project again, so that was fun. Got a good workout in, slept in, I watched a movie with a friend, so you know, it turns out it was quite a full weekend. Hope you had a good weekend. Let's see here, things look okay. Looks like we're ready to stream, pretty much. Wanted to finish off this little document here. There's not much left to do. Figured I'd get it done on stream, hopefully anyway. And then 3D. You're wet and cold all weekend. You didn't get out much. Got some personal project stuff done though. Hey, glad to hear that at least. It's on my end here, it was actually really nice and sunny, but so right now it's minus 6 degrees Celsius outside. And it was like minus 14 Celsius or something like that last night. So it was very dry, very sunny, and very cold. So didn't go out much either. Managed to do a lot of stuff using the internet. You know how that goes. Was your personal project stuff like code related or stuff IRL? Of course, no need to share if there's anything you don't want to share. Obviously, that's always true. What was I in the middle of? Oh yeah. All right, this here. Yeah, code stuff. Proof of concept for work and some network monitoring tools. Oh yeah, I gotcha. That's not something I've dipped my toes in before. At least not much. So it sounds like a pretty cool project. I hope that's going well, or at least you have a promising bit of headway that you can make on it. All right, so let me finish this up. It's not going to take me too long. I just want to get it done off of the good old to-do list. That list that never ceases to grow. That's okay. Something like that. No one in the company has used the tech before. You don't have much help or any resources to reach out to. Oh boy. You're a brave explorer in a new frontier, eh? I've ended up in that position many times. It always starts out, I really enjoy that. It's part of the challenge to become the expert in a thing and do all your own exploration. I enjoy that. But the downside is if no one else is willing to learn alongside you, you end up being the expert and you have all this expectation about being able to do it all yourself. Now, I know nothing about the internal structure of your company, so that's maybe my own bias seeping in there, but a bit of help would be nice if in case you needed it. Yeah, fair enough. That's the thing, right, is being an expert on a thing makes you valuable in some sense, but it also puts a lot on your shoulders, right? Well, Mike, I think from the you know, we don't know each other in person. We just know each other through internet chat and stuff like that, which is nice. But from your attitude that I get through this, I think you'll be able to figure it out and pull through effectively. And hopefully you've got some help where you need it. I mean, at the very least, I think you're brave enough to ask for it. So that's that's a win. Let's see. Okay, so these 4 strips here, I just want to space them out a little bit more. Probably by another 1/2 inch like this. I noticed no change. Something might be wrong with the script here. Oh, am I editing the wrong? I am. Dang it. This is the wrong thing. Dang it, Bobby. All right. I don't even need that on this figure. I just copied it. So let's fix it up here. All right, here we go. Let's space that out. Extra 1/2 inch there. That looks good. Which means this one has to be 1 inch, right? Yeah. And then this one, 1.5. There we go. And this label technically should be 2 now. Oop, that's the wrong direction, of course. It doesn't look right though. That's fine. I've been really thinking about, so as I make these scripts that do a lot of the grunt work for me, they automate a lot of the workflow. It's really exciting, but it's gonna leave only the hardest parts to automate left. So I've been in the back of my mind trying to think through how I can make the diagram production process way smoother. So the eventual goal is to turn this into enough of a tool chain that I can either let users create a document in Word or Pages, and then they send it to a site or something, and it spits out a live version translated so that they can get their PDF from it, and then build into that some kind of diagram process where they can draw it out themselves, or I don't know what specifically, or turn it into an app. The end goal is that I am basically doing app maintenance, not design docs for the quilt patterns, and then I could monetize that somehow. But well before that even, I've just been stewing on the idea of how I would actually make it user-friendly and not like the right amount of powerful and intuitive, you know, because at least when it comes to quilt patterns, there's actually quite a bit of I guess you could call it like domain knowledge. So for example, if you cut raw shapes, you need to cut, if you want a 4-inch square at the end, like after it's all sewn in, you have to cut a 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch square, because when you sew it to another piece, you typically have you consume a 1/4 inch off of whatever side you're sewing together. So to build into this, the whole process, the ideal thing is you don't have the user calculating all kinds of offsets in their head, right? They're just drawing some shape, and then a lot of stuff from the shapes that you draw gets calculated in the back end and spits out this is how you cut this sort of thing. But all of that is like, it's not easy to describe, and it's easier to describe than it is to produce. At least I haven't come up with good solutions yet. I don't even know if what I'm saying makes sense, point is, I've got a lot on my mind as I keep building these. I'm really happy to do it. And I just am really excited to crack the case on making it a genuinely useful tool for the design producers and not just for me, if that makes sense. It's going to be fun. It's going to be hard, but I keep wanting to remind myself that that's kind of the end goal. So I'm yammering on because I'm happy. I'm excited about it. Okay, so figure 1b is actually extremely simple. This whole first bit, I need to keep that, and these other ones I can just delete these. Last part made sense. Not knowledgeable in sewing or quilting. You don't understand the other part. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Actually, I wonder if I could make... I do kind of want to try explain this a little better, so give me a second. I'm going to get the iPad ready. This is good practice for me to get better at explaining stuff anyway, so. I find the interesting thing about writing code to help people produce something. I'm going to hide my scene just until I set up my iPad here. The interesting thing is you have to know, to make something useful for someone else, you have to be able to learn a little bit, not everything about a domain. Like you have to learn, so I didn't know anything about quilting either, so I had to learn what people were, like what my mom was talking about half the time, because it was obvious to her. And I had to ask questions and learn a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And the skill of trying to understand something enough to be able to produce a tool is an interesting one. It's really unique, and I quite enjoy it. It doesn't mean I'm an expert, of course, but it means like you get to learn, like you need to go just a little deeper than surface level knowledge, so you can try and meet a real need and not just... you want to do not what people say they want, but what people actually need, and that's not always what they say. It's really interesting how much problem solving ends up being a communication and people problem, you know? I enjoy it. Let me get this. Let's get this bad boy going. Okay. There we go. This is this is an image I drew already, so it's not new. All right. Okay, I'm going to quickly see if I can explain what I'm talking about when it comes to this quilt stuff. So a quilt, right, could look, the finished thing is some sewn set of geometry, right? Let's say, what's a really simple one to do? Let's imagine this. Okay, so this here, okay, so each of these blocks is one piece of fabric, and we'll focus on this one here. This, imagine it's actually a square and not a horrible junk drawing. If this final dimension here is 4 inches by 4 inches, as you're assembling the quilt, it's going to start as a set of pieces, right? So this is going to be a loose piece of fabric not sewn to anything. This is a piece of fabric not sewn to anything. This one as well, right? And this one. So if I cut this piece of fabric at exactly 4 inches before I was sewing it at all, there's literally no fabric to attach things on. You can't just glue pieces of fabric together. They have no edge, right? You have to give a little bit of extra for it to have some part of it to attach to. So again, maybe not explaining it the best. If this is the side view of a piece of fabric and this is the side view of another piece, in order to attach them here, right, you need to fold it like this, each one, and then sewing, the thread stitches through like this. So on the top view, where you have a seam that you've sewn, right, there's a stitched thread all the way through. So this part right here requires some extra, and the default extra is a 1/4 inch extra. So back to that 4-inch piece, if I need a piece to look like 4 inches at the end after sewing, right, there's this required extra that I have to cut from the raw fabric so that this gets consumed, it gets folded in and sewn together with the other pieces. So again, I think I'm not explaining this as clearly as I could, but I'm trying. You have 2 pieces of fabric, you're about to sew them together, you fold the bits over, you sew it like that, so then after these 2 pieces are sewn, they'll look like this. And the total, the total, if this is 4.5, this is now, because I've sewn one side, the length is going to be 4.25 inches. And if I sew the other side, the final result will be 4 inches. I am drawing, I need to get better at spacing out my drawings. It's weird, you'd think I'd be good at it because it's digital, I can just move things around, but I always end up cramming stuff into the sides. But that's kind of the basics. So in order to do that, right, like if I want to have an interface for a user, do I say, okay, you can, if you make a 4-inch square piece, that's 4 inches. Do I say the final result will be 4 inches? Therefore, if you give me a 4-inch piece, that means you need a 4.5 inch cut from your raw fabric? Or do I say, tell me what you want to cut from the raw fabric and I'll calculate the result after you consume all of the seams? You know, you can go either way with it, but I don't know what's more intuitive for a quilt designer, right? I have to figure that out. And that's the quick, dirty explanation. Not a perfect one, but hopefully that's a little bit clearer anyway. Let's get the bread out of here. There we go. All right. So with that seam idea in mind, the 4-inch strips here, right? After they're sewn into place, it'll no longer be 4 inches, it'll be 3.5. I want 4-inch squares for my pattern, and you take care of the extra calculations. Yeah, honestly, Mike, that's what I was thinking too. That's where my brain defaulted to. It seems way more intuitive that it seems way more declarative as well, which seems to fit the Clojure functional programming idea, right? Like the ideal thing that any computer can do is all of the calculations. When you say, computer, give me this, the computer does all the hard work and spits out the result that you asked for. You declare to the computer, I want this, and it does it for you. That's the ideal way to build it, in my opinion. I think that would be a really cool way to do it, but that'll be a fun challenge, to say the least. But I think I can do it. Like my workflow right now, I would say, is very procedural, right? Like if you look at this, not that this SVG library is bad, I'm quite proud of it already, but it's literally, I give a shape and I tell it where to be placed. I tell it how to be rotated. All of that stuff is done for me automatically. The only stuff that I've started to automate is, you know, if you have a set of objects and you want to translate them in a line, I have a lineup function and all that. So it's getting more declarative, but there's a long way to go yet. But the declarative approach to things, if you can make it work smoothly, is the thing that make people feel like computers are magic, you know? I mean, they're not magic, right? They're just doing what you tell them, but the declarative approach to things, I feel anyway, is what people are always like, whoa, it does that for you? That's crazy. That's when people are impressed. I'm not here to impress so much as make useful tools, but people being impressed is always kind of fun too. There we go. Okay, we're getting closer to what I need. A color, B color. Yeah. Right, so with this, I can just do that. Oops. What I'd really love is, or what I think would be a really cool kind of smart way to make an interface is you present a grid and you give a user interface where they can draw 2D shapes, lines, polylines, and all of that stuff. So they can trace whatever pattern they want onto this grid. Then the next stage is all of those shapes it'll be various polygons and stuff like that, right? Then you can click and like fill each polygon with whatever fabric color you want. Then you can click generate, or whatever it would be called, cuts. And what it would do is take all of those shapes, automatically calculate the offset so that you'd have the right size for all of the seams. And then it would spit out, okay, I see 10 triangles of the same size and the same fabric. Therefore, you need this much fabric to cut this many parts from. And it would automatically calculate your bill of materials from your final design shape. That, I think, would be the right kind of interface. And I think that would get people pretty excited. Actually, I have a really old, crappy example of that. I was thinking about that some time ago. This doesn't work well at all, but this is an example of actual interface. Oh, all this does is let me spit out coordinates. That's not the one this isn't the one I was thinking of. I forget which one I was doing. Oh yeah, this one. So here's an extremely rough example. I, the user, have drawn a shape in this box. Obviously, in real life, you'd want to probably be in the same box. And I have a thing, it calculated the offset for me automatically. And in theory, I could print this off and cut this out and get the exact shape I needed, right? So I messed around with the idea here. The execution leaves a lot to be desired, but the idea is possible. And see here, you get weird glitches, right? When you cross it's inverted. But that's the spirit of the idea is there. This is obviously not good, right? So there's a lot of work that I'd have to do to make it work seamlessly. But enough of that. That's not for today. Template creator of sorts. It would create the shape you would cut out of the fabric. Yeah, that's the idea. You give it the final shape you want, and not only for a single shape at a time, for the entire quilt. So in the background, it would say, oh, it turns out you've got a 5x3 triangle, but you've got that exact shape you've used 20 times in the quilt. So we only need to, you can reuse this same template for every shape. But you have 5 cut out of fabric A, 5 cut out of fabric B, 5 cut out of fabric C, and 5 of D. So you have one template shape, but 4 different pieces, 5 different instances of the piece. And the user of this idea would never have to worry about that. The amounts would be calculated and indicated on some kind of bill of materials output from your pattern drawing is the idea. I'm sure it's possible. In fact, I'm sure there are quilt design packages that exist. I've never used one, so I don't know the details, but I would imagine the basic concept is similar across all packages that you could get. The thing is, it's a pretty niche area of design, so the price of those sorts of apps can be pretty expensive, or the app itself isn't necessarily that user-friendly because, you can't spend ages and ages designing these products if you have such a small market necessarily. I don't know. But it certainly seems doable. But let's finish this triangle. How about that? So this, I have to do strip from try is going to be, the first one is, the length is 32 and the gap is 3.5. The color, well, this actually has to be different. This has to be A color and this one will be B color. And the translate will have to change, but for now, 3.5 and, oh, no. This will have to be, I'll worry about this in a minute. 28.5 is, and then one more. But this one is gonna be 36 for A color again, and 32 down. Okay, so now this translate should be back up here, by the way. All right, we're getting there. Oof. Almost spilled my coffee. That's never fun. Okay, let's see if this function will actually work. Try. It's a bad name for a function, but whatever. That's my excuse. My excuse is whatever. Green will have a blue strip inside. So let's see if this, not quite. I don't know where that went wrong. Let's fix the rest of this up for a moment. Oh, probably, that's a little strange. I think maybe I should wrap this in a group tag here. Oop, that's the problem. Let's try that. Ah, there we go. We're getting close. Gonna start reviewing my code changes and flagging my function names, sir. Oh man, I'm in trouble now. Yeah, and my explanation will just be I literally have no explanation other than I didn't want to think of a name. Oops. I don't know if this actually makes it any better, but this function is literally, it will only exist in the context of this one project. It is not saved out to a library, so that is why I care a little bit less. But maybe I'm just making bad excuses for myself. I don't know. 7.5. Boop. There we go. And then this one has to be moved over by 4. Boop. Perfect. I'm into it. I love it. So this here, actually these individual, like every pattern project I'm doing, I have it in my own Git stuff, but I don't push it to GitHub at all. So just because it's technically customer data, right? Like, well, in a very loose sense, it's my data that I use to produce a PDF output, but I just don't want to have it on GitHub because I don't expect anything bad will ever happen with this. It's small time stuff, but still, I don't need to put it all on GitHub. So you won't see this. You won't see this one. You'll only see it here. You can leave code reviews on in my YouTube comments because that's the perfect place to do code reviews. I'm just kidding. Oh, that reminds me. One funny thing. This is no shame on the people who've done this, but it's happened twice so far. In one of my... You're on it. Oh no, what have I done? So there, on one of my videos, I talk about making a function key to string, and I make it, basically I do something where instead of, if you do blah blah blah, I'm talking about this problem. If I string a key, it keeps the colon there. So I came up with a whole weird function that destructures that and then puts string and then reassembles the string. So I made a function that would do that. So I'm talking about this in the video, and then immediately following that I say, I just make a little note that, you know, as it turns out, I didn't know this right away, but there's a function called name that will do that for me without me having to write a silly function like that. So the whole point of keeping that in the video was to point out that that you might not know every function that exists, and that's okay. You can figure it out and people can help you with it later. Anyway, what happened was two people did this. They were watching the video and they wrote a comment saying, as I was doing this part of things, before I had mentioned this name function, I was building my own function. They wrote a comment that said, hey, you can use name for this. What about name? It'll do it. And the reason so both of them, I guess, continued to watch the video where I literally say, oh, by the way, this is name. You can do this instead. And they deleted their comments because, you know, then it turns out they're superfluous at that point. But the reason I know about it is because I got the alert and I could read the comment in the alert. So, you know, I know they deleted it because you click the alert and it leads to nothing after they've deleted it. Anyway, it's no shame on them, right? They're trying to be helpful, but I thought it was really funny that it happened twice. Two different people commented with helpful information before they watched the whole video through, and I literally fixed that issue in the video. It was pretty funny. I guess there's always going to be a little bit of that. And in this case, both, they were legitimately trying to point out some helpful information. They just happened to do it before I said it in the video. It was quite funny to me. Right, so what am I doing now? Oh yeah, this here, probably 40. Yeah, that'll be good. But I need to match the colors. Okay, so green will have blue, red triangle will have green. And this one will be 80. Yellow will have red. Yellow, please. I think I've gotten worse at typing since I started streaming, honestly. I just feel atrocious at it lately. People tend to be quick to comment. It's not a real-time conversation. You try to at least watch the video through before I leave a comment, or you just make a note for the end. Yeah, oh, I like totally not throwing any shade at the people who did this. Like, you're totally right. If you're watching a video, right, if it's more than, say, 5 minutes, there could be multiple times where you might have a thought to say, oh, I want to comment on this. And it makes a ton of sense to write the comment before you finish watching the video. Like, that's what anyone would do naturally. So no shade thrown. It was just humorous. But yeah, you're totally right. That especially because it's literally not live, right? You can type something out as the video is playing, do whatever you want. There will be times where someone has something useful that I haven't said in the video as well, right? So it's good. Hopefully I can learn a thing or two here and there, right? The last one is blue with yellow. Oh, forgot to translate it. And I don't really need to group this because I'm not doing anything with the group. Okay, that ran out of space, huh? Well, yeah, we'll do it this way. Or actually, let me see here. Let's do 600. Will that cover it? Ooh, close. Perfect. Another thing I'd love to have automatically done for me is an SVG container that can calculate the extents of its contents and automatically resize itself without me having to guess at the pixel size here. That would be really cool. So that I can pass into it whatever shapes and whatever size and whatever scale, and it'll only take up, it'll basically shrink its own bounding box to be exactly what's necessary. And then CSS side could take care of padding and stuff like that. So right now I just do it manually, and it's fine, right? It's not a big deal because I know the general limits of what size of drawings I want. So my intuition for the sizing is pretty good, but it'd be even cooler to have that done automatically. Okay, there we go. That's another figure. This looks nice. These colors look nice, I think. Okay, step 3. Yeah, so this step 3 here is an interesting sort of thing. I was talking earlier about the seams and stuff like that. Technically, so this way, the way I've drawn these is incorrect. This is just a reference. Step 3 will explain the method for sewing the triangles. Because I'll be consuming the seam sides of this, the strip here, these two strips will actually poke out further. So I have to make those now. I'll have to indicate how that looks. Again, not explaining it perfectly, but I'll show it, I guess. So I changed the name of this after all to example try. I could spend the time to make these a little more useful, but I'm gonna stick with it this way. Like what would really be nice is if this automatically calculated I could do it. I could do the width. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I will. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, so, oh, do I have the, let's see. Gonna bring up another design I did. Yeah. Well, there's a piece of bread still open. So this is another pattern I did. And see these here? Oh shoot. I gave the pieces of paper back. Okay. My thought process is all over the place, but I'm going to try explain what I'm trying to do here. This is on my mind. This was the next YouTube video idea I had, so I'm just curious what you think. I think it'll be a cool one to show, but let me explain it for a second here. Trying to find a picture. Oh my goodness. I don't know about you, but I have like tons of pictures of family and friends and stuff on my phone, and like every time I scroll back trying to find something useful, I just see ridiculously goofy pictures. I love it. Okay, here's a good example. So sneak peek, nice. Yeah, so this is a picture. So this tree template here is a big one. So it was my mom, she made the template on a piece of paper and literally handed me the paper that was the template. I put it on my floor and I took a picture of it and I fiddled with the contrast and everything. And eventually I inverted it from this. So I inverted it so the background was white and the foreground was the black shape. And I've shown bits of this before, but I used a script to automatically trace that and convert it into an SVG thing so that I was able to use that shape. It's literally right here as well. It created a polygon from the piece of paper template directly. And that's true of the rabbit and the squirrel and stuff as well. In fact, that was some time ago. I think you probably even saw me testing the script a little bit with maybe this squirrel, I think. So I feel as if that'll be a pretty cool video to showcase how I actually made that work. Yeah, you remember the script? So that was my next video idea. I think that one's cool enough to make a video from. Probably, anyway. And it's even refined a little bit more because I updated how I handle SVG path data, so I can make it a little smoother and I can transform it in a more robust way. But I thought that'd make a fun video. Yeah, pretty much it would be explaining that. Yeah. So the only thing I'm not sure of is, I'll just get rid of this and this. Don't need them anymore. So that particular script, the pencil script, I guess it's a little bit of a, well, I don't know if it's a cop-out or not, but this here, the image to Eden thing, I do a shell call to a program. So I'm not actually doing the tracing algorithm myself. I'm letting a different program handle that. So that's the only thing that I feel might be a little bit lacking. Like it's still me just putting together another script that ingests data using a program that already exists. I don't know. I feel like that could be fine, but maybe it'd be even cooler if I learned the tracing algorithm myself and implemented it in Clojure, but that would take a while because I haven't done that yet. But so here's what I mean. The shell, I do a shell call to this program called vtracer, and vtracer has the implemented thing there. It would be time consuming to rewrite it. Yeah, it would. But so it's well explained. vtracer is this MIT open source thing. You can download the binary and everything. Vision Cortex. I believe this is a Rust. Yeah, it uses Rust. There's even a web app interface for it. So like it's a powerful program already built, right? So I mean, on the other side of that is, okay, don't re-implement things that already exist. I just am wondering if it would be a cool video, even though I'm doing the tracing algorithm via someone else's program. I think I could make a good video out of it anyway, because it'd be fun to show. What I can do is show off little elements of my SVG library that can translate it and do all kinds of stuff with the path. Once the path is in Eden Hiccup data structures, now you can use whatever Clojure you want to mess with it. I think that's pretty cool. So that's what I'm thinking. There's another app. It's not on GitHub apparently. Potrace, or yeah, I think it's pronounced Potrace, is actually what Inkscape uses for tracing as well. So this may as well. It would be that would be good. You don't want to just make a video doing a shell call to another program, I think. Yeah, I want to balance it a little bit, right, because I do think it's still fascinating to show how you can use other programs already. Tracing a small image, maybe upsizing it or something with my library, that would be neat. Oh, that's a good idea. So what I was actually thinking was to take a 2D image that I draw on my iPad and transform it with a few things and transform it to an isometric projection and do an extrusion on it, and maybe even put a little animation on it or something like that, just to show that once you get something into SVG, there's all kinds of different powerful stuff you can do. It'd be pretty fun. Kind of like the animation I made with this Be Right Back thing. I could use the same ideas there to animate in some kind of weird way, an abstract kind of sketch that I did. I don't know. That's the idea anyway. I think it'd be pretty neat. but the tracing, it's very similar to this tracing here, which is, how do I do that again? Path, oh yeah, object trace bitmap, here we go. Let's see if it'll work. Inkscape is great, but it doesn't run super well on this computer. It's definitely friendlier to use on Windows or on Linux, but it works okay on Mac. I think you're probably onto something with that idea. Okay, cool. You know, that's enough of a vote of confidence that I think I can pull it off. Part of me is worried that so I love making these videos, like, and I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna do it at a healthy pace so I don't burn myself out, of course. But it appears I've frozen Inkscape. My bad. Anyway, I'm a little nervous that I might accidentally escalate the requirement of my own videos to be like cooler and cooler with every one I do until I can't do things anymore because they'll take months and months or skills that I don't have. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so I won't worry about that. You know, this is not running, so instead of force closing it, I'm going to ignore it and see what happens. Since I don't need to work in that file anyway right now, so. Reckless abandon. That's my strategy today. Okay. Figure 2. Let's get it done. Let's see here. So I need to the angles won't match up. Oh yeah. This is me hopping around again, as I always do. This I have to fix to use the width argument. Easy peasy. All right, so I'm trying to, there are just gonna have to be hard-coded values, unfortunately. Well, it's not, no, this will be good enough once I fix all those little things. Hey, Cobra, how's it going? Good to see ya. Always trying to one-up yourself isn't easy. If you just try to strike a balance of things you like that aren't incredibly complicated, it'll work out, though. You're going to have highs and lows for interest in topics. Some people may like the complex algorithms. Others want to see sleek and sexy UI components. No pleasing them all. Yeah, no, for sure. So the banner on my YouTube channel says some things I like and care about. It's a little silly to say, but I think I want to just use that as the guiding principle. Is like, if I enjoy it enough, I'll make a video out of it, and whoever likes it, that's the kind of person that'll watch it. Whoever doesn't, they can just not watch it. So it's not a big deal, really. Cobra appears and everyone smiles. Hey, Cobra, you don't know you don't know, well, you're not the only one. You're not the only one that's true for, but yeah, it's nice to see you here. It's fun that people come into chat, you included. So glad to see you, Cobra. I hope you had a good weekend. I did. It was a little packed, but sometimes a busy weekend is okay. You're skipping learning and running today? Your mic's all suited up. Throwing darts from across the pond at each other, eh? Yeah, Cobra, I'm doing well right now. Feeling good about getting this little bit of design work done here. You're going to go to school in America, Cobra? Maybe I missed what you were saying. I'm splitting my attention between chat and my code here. I always get stuff wrong. Here I need to make sure this is width. Width. Come on. There we go. -4 minus 3.5. The reason I'm not combining this into just -7.5 is just for future readability, so I remember why that happened, I guess. Maybe it's unnecessary to do that, but I'll leave it in like that. Not a big deal. Width -4. Oop. Come on. I think actually yeah, I'll do this. B color and B thickness. Because actually, thinking about this, I can make this, I don't have to hard code anything anymore, actually. So here, what I want to do is, wait, I do need, this is a little, yeah, I'll see how this goes. I think it'll be okay. You have a question? We're working on UML diagrams and I hate them. Do you guys use them? Also, my main PC feels weird being back on Windows with bigger screens. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I've never, so I've seen UML diagrams and I have never used them and honestly never thought that I've needed to, except for maybe in like if I had to give a presentation to a manager or something like that. But yeah, I've never used them. I think they're a little overrated, and I think Mike's got the real you were blocked for hostility, Cobra. They're so dumb was considered hostile. But I'll allow hostility towards UML diagrams. I think UML diagrams have, I think they kind of exist to try and explain detailed structure to people who can't or don't necessarily have the time to read through code, but I'm not sure that they're actually a good way to solve that kind of problem, you know? Yeah, so Cobra, you're hitting on a big open question that people have, and it relates to tools like no-code tools. There's always this, you should never use UML to generate code. There's this general question of what's better, to use a tool that generates code or to learn how to write the code that the tool generates directly? And there's not always an easy answer for that. More often than not, people who know how to write code find that the quality of them doing it instead of having a tool generate it is superior. The reason that these no-code tools exist and keep trying to be made, or that UML diagrams exist to try and communicate things, is to get people who might have important knowledge about the problem being solved but don't have important knowledge about how to implement it or explain it with code, so that those groups of people can communicate with the implementers of the solutions. And that's a hard bridge that's a hard gap to bridge a lot of times. So I think these tools come from a good place, but they're just not really up to the task. Oh boy, Cobra. Sounds like a tough go, man. Okay, so here I can change this to A thickness, B thickness, and the A color. Translate AT, BT. This is minus A thickness, and this is B thickness. This is hard to read. A thickness. Okay, I think this will work. There are no more numbers in here except for these ones, which are fine. Okay, let's see if that will work. I think it will. So close. That looks cool, but that's wrong. I can fix that. So that is this middle part right here. I accidentally did a goof 'em up. This one should not. This should just be. There we go. Wondering if you've seen Uml diagrams outside of uni or if you find them useful at all. Waste of time, just like being able to give an example of polymorphism or something like that. Give me a dev that can debug and look stuff up online over an academic any day of the week. Some companies really stress that you needed to know stuff like efficiency of algorithms and stuff. I think it's almost pointless. So Cobra and Mike for that matter, just to be clear, I have my opinions on these things, but I am self-taught and I come from mechanical engineering. So my opinions on the dev side of these things is almost purely from a anecdotal perspective, right? So I can't, I think what Mike is saying, Cobra, is probably pretty accurate to reality. And my own gut tells me the same thing, is that, look, if all you know is diagramming and stuff like that, you're kind of missing the forest for the trees, you know? But I don't know everything, so. I would say, if anything, writing pseudocode would be, I mean, if anything, Cobra, the skill of writing pseudocode might be helpful to you. Maybe work on that a little bit. But honestly, UML diagrams seem like Mike said, they do feel like a waste of time. Pseudocode could be useful just to help you sketch out your own approach, you know? Like, I don't do pseudocode a lot, but I do stuff like this. I say, okay, I'm given some A, and then I want to make a function that does A to B, and then that'll be through use determinant A gives A D, and then AD times 2, and then return B, right? Like this is the crappiest pseudocode you've ever seen, but it sketches out very roughly the flow of things that I need, and then I can go and implement it properly. So the pseudocode stuff, at least at my first thought, is that it could be useful to learn that a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. That's up to the individual a little bit. Yeah, Mike's got an even better perspective there. Right. If you could write the code out as you're thinking about it, that's totally fine. But yeah, to write pseudocode to explain it to a non-tech person, fair enough. That would be a useful time to use it. Okay. Oh, sure. Oh, sure. Let's get this done, eh? So now that I've gone and done that, I am going to ignore all of that for a moment to create figure 2. Showing the triangles there. So in this particular thing, I'm only going to show, I only really am going to show one triangle. I don't need all of them, so I can do this. Example try. There we go. And this can actually just be a def. I don't need this. I want to group it together, but here things get a little bit interesting. This is going to be 28.5 as always. Gonna make this yellow. It's easier to see. Translate it. Is that gonna be right? I think so. I think so. And here, this is gonna be 32, but the thickness is only gonna be 3. This is where, okay, yeah. Red. Translate this. 4. 28.25, I think, is correct. And this one is going to be 36, but only 3.5. Yeah. And this one gets translated 31.25. That might be a little wrong, but we'll see. Here, all I need to do is example try. For now, I'll translate it 0, 0, and I get rid of the style. See if that works. This question applies more to Mike, since I'm from an engineering background. Why do you learn maths for IT? Do you use it? Why do you learn math in IT? What kind of math are you learning? Yeah, you know, I get that, Cobra. My personal opinion is that everyone should learn math because math is amazing, but I'm obviously a biased engineer, right? Okay, so this is hard to see, but this here, see how these steps exist here? That's because the strips used are shorter, and that's related to how you sew seams together. You end up with the strip gets shorter this way in the vertical direction, but its original length is still there, so it's going to look different, and this needs to be trimmed off here. So I actually should probably make this diagram just a little bigger so it's more obvious. That's maybe needlessly large. Math is kind of tricky. Most of the value I've gotten, you did a lot of calculus. That makes sense. I did as well. Helped you with problem solving skills in general. Absolutely, that's true. Strong background. Gave you a strong background for physics or math problems in software. Rocket collision simulation, that sort of thing. 3, it's helpful for programming hardware, for calculating processor cycles at a given time, etc. Totally. Yeah, Mike is totally right. Math is tricky because it's hard. It's also hard to know what you mean by math, right? Math is such a, like, the category name of math is so broad as to be a little bit unhelpful up front, right? Like calculus is math, linear algebra is math, but they're a little bit different until they become the same, but then they can be different again. And then there's statistical analysis, which is math, but is different again, but is related to a lot of calculus. And then there's discrete math, which is probably used a ton in programming more than a lot of other things, but there's all kinds of different fields of mathematics that may or may not be useful to you. Mike brought up things like physics. That makes a ton of sense in general. Iteration of functions, standard deviation, array index. Yeah. If I could be so bold, I would say it is worth spending time and effort trying hard to understand math concepts. If you never use specific math concepts again, it is still totally worth learning how to think in abstract mathematical ways. In my opinion, that's extremely useful for breaking down problems of many different kinds. And the nice thing is, if you know you can do a math problem that is a 10 out of 10 difficulty scale, then any day-to-day math stuff you encounter is more likely to be a 5, maybe a 4. And so your overall confidence in your mathematical ability lets you just feel as if you have the skill to solve problems. Whereas if you had if you had less confidence overall, you might be a little more hesitant to tackle problems. So there's that weird psychological benefit of knowing you can work with difficult mathematical concepts can give you the confidence you need to work with less difficult mathematical problems, which you might encounter more frequently. Not sure if that is a good argument for you, but math is good, is my is my take. It's definitely a challenge. Spot on for the value devs get in math. All right. Get the Mike seal of approval on that one. I'll take it. I will take it. Let's draw a line. Okay, SVG/style. Oop. Class line dashed. Yeah. And I don't know. It's gonna be 0.36 is wrong, but I'm gonna put it there for a moment. And this is gonna be 36.0. So that's gonna, ooh, hey, oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, you can't just opt out specifically from your math, right? Forget a lot of stuff you learned, you only remember the main bits. Cobra, my opinion is that, so school I think is valuable. I think in many different countries, the school system probably needs a 21st century update, you know, a little bit of polish. There's a lot that we do that isn't necessarily optimal for teaching, but the theoretical Platonic ideal of what schooling is, I think, is valuable for every human, and that is basically providing novel and challenging knowledge and facts, and providing examples of the skill of synthesizing things you know with potential things you don't, basically to be able to solve problems in the real world, to think about the real world in abstract and useful ways, and to communicate those things effectively. In short, school, when done properly, as it were, when taken seriously, is a really good way to learn how to use your brain in more effective ways. And I think that is a useful skill. School gave you the structure to learn how to learn. The actual development skills weren't too great, but you were well prepared to learn quickly and efficiently to spin up on projects. Yeah, learning how to learn is a succinct way of summarizing what I was trying to get at. Okay, so let's do this a little bit differently. Fill this with stroke. That's not helpful. Lime green, maybe. It's not great, really. Seriously, that didn't work? Shoot. You know what? I think that's probably fine, at least for now. I'll change it if I need to. Let's add a label, scale 2, trim along 45. Yeah, I think that's fine. Translate. See. It's hard being as awesome as me, to be honest. I mean, that's a bit of a non sequitur, don't you think, Cobra? Come on. And so humble, Cobra. So humble. The most humble. All right, let's try to run this function here. Try. The width of this whole thing is now going to be what? It's got to be minus. Wait a second. This is now 3, and this is. Oh, this is actually one thing I did wrong here. This is actually going to be 3.75 still, technically. Ooh, wait, whoa. Oh, that's because I didn't finish this silly thing. Yeah, 28.5. So that's going to be. $31.25, yeah. 34.25. 35. That makes sense, right? I think that makes sense. Yellow, red. There we go. You'd rather not say it was a joke you made? You're afraid Adam will ban you? Why would I ban you? What am I missing? What am I missing, Cobra? You scheming over there, huh? I'll let you scheme. I gotta go to the washroom for a minute. I will be right back. I don't think I'll ban you, Cobra, but I mean, you could surprise me, I guess. Don't go off the rails. All right, what's going on? Oh, okay, Cobra. I'm picking up what you put down there. And now you're both dismantling the the U.S. education system. I get it. I don't have much to say on that topic specifically. So for some of my co-op placements, so internship placements, your wife teaches, so you can criticize since you have insider knowledge. Fair enough. No, I mean, I think I think the school system should be criticized, at least the US is different than Canada. There are many similarities, of course. I enjoyed my schooling. It was more affordable, I think, than a lot of US schools, although maybe not, I don't know. But I don't know, there's still a lot of real problems. I'm not a teacher, but I was a student, so I was in the system, and there's many things that I didn't enjoy. There's a lot of stuff I did enjoy too, so it was a mixed bag. But I think the teachers are usually the ones doing good hard work, right? And then there's systemic related things that make things challenging, and that's a shame, to say the least. But I studied in a really nice school. I had a lot of good learning and internship opportunities, so I can't really complain. I had a good time. Oh, I was off apparently by... Okay, well. You don't want to relocate. As fun as it sounds, the American dream is tempting. You enjoy Ireland in college and you're in is good uni. You don't want to risk it. Yeah, so A, you want to stay, and C, you don't want to leave. And B, you need to learn your alphabet yet. You only learn every other letter of the alphabet. Oh my goodness. Yeah, now Mike's the one throwing the darts. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, step 5 here. Oh yeah, this was where he's having legitimate issues with stuff. It doesn't make any sense. All right, let's try to squash this one, eh? Okay. Okay, looks like I've got something wrong with the bounds function. Not sure what the deal is with that. Let's go try and figure it out. Let's see. Oh man, you guys are going to town. Just be sure to stretch before and tap out and be respect. Nothing on the eyes. So have a good clean fight, okay? Oh yeah, and only one person's gonna have to pay for their medical bill apparently. Can't move to Canada either. You're not the best with cold weather conditions. What are you talking about? It's only -6 degrees Celsius right now, and it was only -14 yesterday. It wasn't bad. I don't know why this is breaking here. This. I think the best thing about being Canadian is, not this. I'm obviously being facetious, but one great thing about being Canadian is you can say the temperature and everyone else freaks out for some reason. It's just funny. I like it. The cold's not that bad, you know, most of the time. I mean, we also have like houses and indoor heating, right? So like even when it's cold, like it's not literally -6. The air around me is warmer than that, so I'm not dying or anything. It's all good is what I'm trying to say. I don't know why this isn't working. Well, I guess I could just slowly kind of... Oh. I wonder if that shouldn't really change anything, right? Can't be like Mike and live indoors? Cobra, I genuinely have no idea what you're talking about. You go on runs, so does Mike. He's mentioned that before, at least to me. Maybe you weren't in the stream then. I feel like Mike gets out enough. He's a married man, you know. I mean, that's at least proof that at some point in his life he was outside, or at least in other buildings, right? Oop. And usually to get from building A to building B, you do need to go outside a little bit. 20 kilometers a week on average. Gee, that's really nice. That's good. I've been slacking on my running ever so slightly, but I try to get a 4K run every weekday and try to go for 10K or so over the weekend. So I get close to what you're doing, 20K. He's not. He's an imposter. I think Mike is converting for our benefit. If you ever come to your neck of the woods, you can come run with you. Wow, I read that very weird. Yeah, Mike, if I'm ever around where you're at, that'd be cool. I love running, and I love running with people. I'm down for that. Who knows when that'll happen though, you know? The world's still in a bit of a lockdown kind of situation, so might be a while. Let's see. Man. Cobra with the non sequiturs today. My goodness. They're coming straight out of left field here. All right, so things aren't working. Nope, that's not it. All right. Okay. Gotta figure this out. Blueberry method. Let's hide everything. I don't think this is it, but I've got nothing else to lose here. Maybe. I'm confused. That's what's happening here. I'm just trying to piece together what my own code is supposed to be doing here. You love to see it. Okay, so things are... I did save this, right? Yeah. Where's this coming from then? That... Oh, come on, seriously? So this is returning div. I shouldn't need to do this into div thing. That shouldn't matter. Okay. Let's just try to run. Let's see what happens if I just put in the segments of it. BB method text. Okay, that causes no problems. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. I'm okay with that. Let's make a new function here. Separate this figure out and just do that. Because I think the problem is in the figure somewhere. I think there's something going wrong with a bounds calculation, but I'm having a hard time setting it up so I can even figure out what to do. I do still need those. This is not the cleanest approach, but that's just gonna be fine. Oh man, my life is falling to pieces right now. Nothing's working. Come on. There we go. Kinda. You know, good enough. That's just gonna have to be the way that it is. Alright, so let's just refresh that, get things going again. You're using i3 Cobra? You managed to get that set up on your Ubuntu install? Do you like it so far? It takes a bit of getting used to. At least I found it did when I first switched to Tiling Window Manager. But I think they're really nice. I happen to like them quite a bit. Okay, let's try this. And oh, it is a function, so I have to run it. Let's try tan tan. Oop. You're good. You're a god at it now. Took you 3 days to figure out how to open a PDF file. I love it. For real, none of this is making sense to me. Ah. It's right here. I do, like, I am pulling in this. Figures, namespace, right? Yeah. I mean, maybe let's also try to pull it in here. I don't think that should matter. But let's see. Yeah, I know. Okay. I'm gonna try this once. I'm gonna just, oops. I'm just gonna kill this REPL for a minute and just reload it with this as it is. And if that doesn't work, I'll skip it, finish the other thing, and figure it out after. But I don't know what the deal is. Oh, I also realize I am running out of time. Whoops. Well, let's see what we can do. Get a little bit done and then just roll with the punches. Okay. You haven't opened Ubuntu or Python today. You're taking a day off. You feel like you deserve it. You spent many hours yesterday learning lists in Python. That's a long topic. Yeah, can be for sure. Yeah, there's a real benefit to taking breaks. So don't feel bad taking a well-deserved break, right? And probably you know how to be honest with yourself about when you're slacking off versus when you're taking a good break, right? They're not. Sometimes it's so easy to say, yeah, I deserve a break before you really need one. That was my problem a lot of times. But if you got a good handle on it, then breaks are great. They're important. Okay, so it loaded. Maybe it's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to see how that goes and deal with that later. Still trying to improve, waking up early and doing some work. Yeah, well, that'll take time. And again, if you work better or you enjoy working at different hours, don't be ashamed of the hours you enjoy working at, right? Each person has their own preferences. Yeah, if you're not used to getting up early, you might still feel really tired and unwilling or unable to do a lot of work, right? So it does depend. Oh, these colors are wrong. Let's do yellow, yellow. I'm worried that this will just fail out again. Yeah. Don't know what that's all about. Not yet, anyway. I'm going to ignore it for now. The text works without issues, so we'll just leave it there for now to be a sort of stub. That's okay. Okay, so, well, now I can make figure 3 at least. I don't think this will help, but I do now want to try this before I forget to try this. This is just going to be a call to qp/bb method. Right. Here, let's get rid of, oh, that's the wrong, wait, no, that's right. Blueberry method, step 5. After this week, you've got your midterm, basically a week off. You're going to install some games and play them. It's been 3 long weeks. Yeah, that does sound like a fun week off. Catching up on some games. Good stuff. Do you have a particular game that you're looking forward to playing? Last shot at this. Nope. You could spend a whole week watching anime, or Mike has a good idea. Yeah, you could play. Oh yeah, Cobra. I'm gonna, since I don't know how to solve this problem, I'm going to ignore it for a moment and show this off. I forget where I put it. It's not there. Oh, here. I made this project. It's all a Clojure thing that you can play with the game Hades. Actually, I don't know, Cobra, if you're familiar with the game Hades. You probably are. It's pretty popular. But you can play, and do like exercises while you play. So if you're interested in that, it's a thing you can do. Oh, is Hercules your cousin? Sure. So in the game Hades, right? You get your power-ups, and you get 3 choices every time you get your boon power-up. The idea with the workout here is you just roll, and let's say you wanted to pick the top option. The idea for the workout is, okay, you do the top option exercise. You do, okay, so I rolled squat to high knee. You do that exercise for, if it's a rare power-up, you do 13. If it's epic, you do 19. And then the next choice you get, you roll again, and it changes up what you do. It's a really simple idea, but I'm pretty proud of how this turned out. It looks pretty nice, I think. I'm happy with the drawings that I did and everything, and I used my SVG library for it, and there's a video about how I made it, but the idea is pretty simple. The weakest thing about it is there's not a huge amount of exercises, because these were the first ones I came up with the equipment I have. It sounds like a workout you can do when it's not cold outside. You can do it in your room if you want to. The only things you might not be able to do if you don't have rings or a bar for pull-ups and stuff in your room, you can't do those. But if you have some dumbbells, you can do those. All kinds of stuff. A lot of them are just squat jumps you can do, for example. Your rings are outside. Okay, fair enough. Well, then it's like an extreme version of it, you know? Crunches, mountain climbers. There's a lot of easy ones that you could do inside. You know, if you've got a little bit of space. Pistol squats, for example, you can kind of do anywhere, right? Push-ups you can do anywhere. But yeah, that's a plug for my little. This is my fun little experiment there. Try to do a muscle up and your hand froze when you touch the bar. Were your hands wet? Did you lick the bar? If you lick the bar, your tongue gets frozen to it. In grade school, we'd have to go outside for recess, right? You could do an indoor-outdoor version. Actually, that's not a bad idea. So I had the idea of doing, when I have time to improve it, to add a little selection at the top where you can check or uncheck various equipment that you have, and it'll automatically add or remove exercises. Don't lick your fingers, Cobra. I was thinking of having a little option where you can set up here. It'll just say equipment or something like that, and you can check and uncheck stuff. And I want to try maybe make it like a model in the style of the game, you know? Add to it over time. That'd be pretty cool. Do it from biting your nails. Yeah, I have that problem too. Nervous tick, I guess. All right, I just have to get this thing done. I only have like 15 minutes, but I could probably do that in 15 minutes. And I'll worry about solving that bug later, because I just don't know. It's bugging me, and I can't solve the problem. I just don't get it. Comprends? Je ne comprends pas. I do not understand. Keep the text in though. Okay, so figure 3. Let's get to it. Give it a go. Yeah, if you want to, you can. Let's see. Do you Do you have the address to my webpage, or do you need that in the chat? Put it in the description or make it a command? I'll make it a command another time, but that is a good idea. I'll just link it in the chat for a second. Did it work? There you go. Cobra is God. Oh, Cobra. You know, I have to draw the line somewhere. I can't let you take over my stream commands, okay? Although maybe I'll make the inverse of what you want. Don't give me ideas. I'll start messing with you via my command chats. Yeah, there's a line and you're crossing it right now. You're tiptoeing right along that line. Like a ballerina on your tiptoes. All right, so this last little bit is gonna be what? So what would the command return? Demigod Cobra, would it just say, just kidding? Actually not. Yeah, Mike, things are going wild, man. I don't know what to do. I have lost all control. Cobra's gone completely nuts. Beyond control, this Cobra guy. Wait, why'd I do that? I don't need to do it that way. I could do this. Four. Going to make a command that gets a random roast and roasts Cobra with it. Actually, Mike, that'd be fun. Just another anti player? Is this Cobra? Do you have two? is that also Cobra? Or are you a new person? Just another blah blah blah. I'm not sure I've seen your username in chat before. Welcome if you're new. Yeah, it's Cobra. What are you doing? You goofing? Or did you change it? What? Why? What are you doing? Oh my goodness. This is anarchy. Or chaos, not anarchy. Sorry, anarchy actually has a real definition that isn't exactly the same. You own the world. Okay, well, what about this here? Mike's gonna call your parents. There, I timed you out. You're timed out for 10. They timed you out for 10 minutes. Hopefully that is actually you and it's not someone else. Let's see what happens. Was that actually you, Cobra? Or were you messing with me? Was that like a friend of yours? There is a way to untime you out, so don't worry. If it actually is important to you, if it's legitimately important to do, I can untime out you or whoever that was. But let's see. Can you be honest? Yes, you can be honest. What'd you do? Are you serious? You gotta be serious with me right now. Oh, what's the command to untime out again? Okay, Cobra, you tell him I'm gonna untime him out. I thought. There you go. There you go. Thanks, Mike. Okay. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. Cobra, and just another. Very seriously, do you guys know each other? It's all good and fun, but I don't want to. You're actually a new viewer. My goodness, Cobra, come on, dude. I'm very sorry. I didn't understand. But you like him already. Oh my goodness. Hey, Mike, can you time Cobra out for a minute? Gotta even it out. Yeah, time Cobra out for a minute. And just another. Honestly, I'm very sorry. I thought it was Cobra messing it. Yeah, untime him out. So 600 seconds is a little too long, but just time him out and untime him out in a bit. Would have done the same. Oh man, I'm embarrassed. We'll let Cobra back in a minute, but not cool. Not cool. So just another. What brings you to the stream? Do you do programming yourself? Yeah, so there's some stuff I have to learn too on that side of things, but just untime him in in a little bit when you feel comfortable doing so. I'm sure he'll be okay. Oh, you got him back. Oh, there you go. The word Clojure brings you here. Just search Clojure on Twitch and I popped up. Hey, well, so unfortunately, I've just been up to a little bit of antics with with my good old chat group here, and I don't have a ton of time left for the day. But feel free to tune in at other times again. What I use Clojure for is right now I'm working on this. It's not an app. It's going to be just a document for a quilt design pattern. So I made an SVG library that lets me do 2D SVG drawings. And I'm using that to make hiccup React components and stuff like that and render out a document here that gets turned into a PDF. I also do 3D design modeling with Clojure. So my background isn't programming specifically. I'm self-taught, but I studied mechanical engineering and I was an industrial designer, so CAD stuff. So that's where my interests largely are. So if that's interesting to you, feel free to come on by from time to time. Yeah, that's the quick pitch as to what I use Clojure for a lot. I do my best not to accidentally time people out too, by the way. Don't let that be an indicator of how things normally are. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh man, Mike's plugging for me. Yeah, so Mike graciously plugged on my behalf, but there's a link there for some YouTube videos if you do want to catch a little bit of the kind of stuff I work on. No pressure, of course, eh? Like, I just want to be helpful. If you're not into that sort of stuff, it's all good. Yeah, Cobra, if you can jump on back in. We were just messing around, eh? I'm not mad. I'm embarrassed that I that I timed out a totally new person, but it all worked out. So you're pretty new to Clojure. You're just looking for someone who streams it to get some inspiration. Okay, cool. Yeah, so actually, if you are looking for a little more direct explanation to some Clojure stuff, my YouTube videos are maybe slightly better. I usually just am pretty relaxed and chill, slow programming with Clojure on my streams anyway, at least lately. But yeah, feel free to stick around, ask any questions. Mike is often in chat. He knows quite a bit about professional development in general, so he's always got some interesting insights. I do my best to explain things if and when I can. And if I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm honest about it, and I try to find other resources. So at the very least, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be helpful and honest. So if that's helpful for you in any way, stick around. I have to go very soon though, so let me just try to finish up this little bit with a little bit of information or a little more proper detail here. All right, let's make this 500 by 500. I know what I got. Here's what I'll do. Good to see someone tackling problems live. You're reading the book 7 Languages in 7 Weeks, and you finished the Clojure chapter yesterday. You thought, let's try Clojure and see what it's about. Cool stuff. If you want a really quick way, it's a cool language, especially if you like functional programming. Yeah, absolutely. If you want a really fun way to quickly do Clojure stuff without messing around with project setup all that much, there's a few things you can do. But one of my favorite things recently is this program called Babashka. I used it and talk about it in one of my videos. If you're looking for a real quick way to get good Clojure stuff working, it doesn't use the JVM. It's a compiled binary from GraalVM, and it leverages Clojure in places where you'd otherwise be using Bash. So there's a lot of the core language built in. You can try little things out. You can build little scripts and mess around with stuff, but it's extremely powerful. I used Babashka to automate some of my video editing process, and it's a good way to kind of dip your toes into Clojure a little bit without any hard installation stuff. If you're on Mac, you could just do brew install borkdude brew babashka, and you've got it right there, really easy. You can launch a REPL once it's installed with BB. There you go. Babashka 0.2.9 is actually the most recent, but you can write forms right there. It's pretty nice. That's a good way to do it. There's also Lumo, Clojure. You use Line again? Yeah. You'll be fine with that. REPL works just fine. Wasn't sure if you already had that all installed or not. I was just thinking about if you had literally nothing installed, but Bashka's nice and quick. So is Lumo, but you've got it all sorted out, so no problem. No problem at all. All right, I keep saying I need to go soon, which is definitely true. Ooh, it's really true. I no longer can finish this on stream right now. Okay, I sincerely have to get going. Hopefully Cobra is going to show up again. Just another. Thanks for tuning in and for forgiving me for timing you out. I will be on my way. I'll be back. So I stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'll be back tomorrow. And yeah, just messing around. Oh yeah, Mike is doing great work. He's telling all the right stuff. he's got it under control. I'll be on my way, guys. Have a good one, okay? I will be back tomorrow, like Mike said, around 2 p.m. Eastern time. Have a good one, everyone. And I'll see you around.